Hello and welcome to the Hibs Observer instant post-match reaction to Hibs 3, Rangers 3 at Easter Road with myself, Liam Bryce and Patrick McPartlin. A chaotic game of football at Easter Road to start the home fixtures at New Year, in the New Year, sorry. My brain's absolutely scrambled after that. I've still got a match report to finish. A crazy game of football, Patrick. How would you sum it up?
I think, crazy probably puts it about right. If you told me at sort of 20 past 12 that there were going to be 6 goals in this game, I probably wouldn't have predicted a 3-all draw. Yeah. Rangers started well, Hibs didn't particularly start well, and going 2 goals up early on, you kind of feared for Hibs a little bit, but credit to them, they came back into it with a well-taken goal from Martin Boyle, set up nicely by Rocky Bushiri. You get to half-time, having got back into the game, and that's obviously such a psychological boost. And then really, I think in the second half, it was Hibs were much improved, a lot of chances. And they've probably been disappointed not to go ahead before they did. Yanis Adri fouling Josh Campbell and Martin Boyle, scoring from the penalty spot to level scores. And then, through defending again, gives Rangers a chance to score a third, but another set-piece goal for Hibs, and they get it back to 3-3. And they could even have got a fourth late on with a couple of chances. So I think probably, we've said this a few times this season, but Hibs in microcosm with some, really ropey defending, but then some, really good stuff in the final third. We know how successful Hibs have been from set pieces in terms of scoring goals. We saw that again today. I mean, you consider this as still a patched up team. You're missing Joe Newell, you're missing Eli Yuan, you're missing Kieran Bowie, Mikola Kurevic, Marvin Epitades at the back. You can see that with the subs, that there's not an awful lot there. It's a big squad, but there's not a lot of options to bring on here. But, in the end, it really didn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, when the teams came out, you kind of got a wee bit of a sense that there was a chance Hibs might be up against it a bit today. You say yourself with kind of patched up look to the team against the Rangers side that are coming off that big win over Celtic. And for the first 20 minutes, they looked as though they threatened to run away with it. To be honest, they looked as if they could have scored every time they went forward. Hibs looked jaded. They sort of looked as if the sort of recent schedule and the mountain absentees were sort of leggy. Exactly, that's the word. We're sort of catching up with them. But to be fair, they've kind of refused to buckle. They did. I wouldn't say they really kind of turned the tide before they scored, but they did enough to hang in the game. And sometimes when you're not playing well, that's kind of all you can ask. Just don't. If you're not going to, if you can't turn the performance around immediately, just try and hang on in the game, and that's what they had to do. And then the goal before half-time sort of changes the feeling a wee bit. I do think Rangers dropped off there. Yeah. It was almost if they thought, 2-0 up against a team that haven't showed up yet. It's almost if they thought the 3 points were in the bag. But again, it's such a turnaround from early on in the season. We were questioning the mentality of this Hibs team, but now it seems every other week now we're talking about how well they've done to dig in and get a result and kind of show their character.
Yeah, and we said before it keeps the unbeaten run going, and that's huge for this team going into January when we know there's going to be changes. We know there's going to be, there's already been some outs, there's going to be more outs. There's presumably going to be ins as well, which will hopefully help the team get to where they want to be by the end of the season. But the way things are going, like missing so many players, to keep on turning in performances. Even go back to Perth on January the 2nd. You're a goal down against 10 men. It's tough going. You manage to get back into it. You get a point, and as David Gray said afterwards, a point on the road is not a disaster. It's never a bad thing. And it'd be interesting to see if he says in his post-match whether he's disappointed that it feels like 2 points gone today. I imagine he probably won't, even though. Hibs went very close. Lewis Miller hitting the post with a header late on. Josh Campbell going close in the first half as well. Hibs could have feasibly won this. And that's with 1.5 strikers on the pitch as well. So, that's kind of shows you the, desire and the sort of belief that this, united front is kind of taking them forward. There's been a lot said about Rangers and their character, but, I don't think the narrative will have completely changed after the victory over Celtic. But, I think you would have been thinking, they're on a high. Hibs are maybe a little bit, feeling a little bit down because they didn't manage to maintain that winning run against 10 men. But, games between these two teams are never dull. They're never short of talking points, of incident. And, we saw that again here today. And I think, Hibs deserve, great credit for the fact that, they were 2-0 down. And I have to say, I thought dead and buried. But, they've come back into it with a goal. really well worked goal. Again, coming from a set piece, came from Jack Iredale's free kick. Hibs kept the ball alive in the box. So, we know how strong Hibs are at set pieces. Rangers haven't been great at defending set pieces, and I think they've obviously worked on that, and they've got the rewards. And when you consider that, I think, what did we have? One substitution for Hibs, I think it was. Yeah. And when you consider how many minutes these players have been playing over the past, I mean, it's only about 3 weeks. It feels like a lot longer. It's certainly been a lot of games up and down the country. So to keep it going, there's now nearly a week's break between the next game against Motherwell. I think that'll be some much needed rest for a few grateful players.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Just a word as well for Martin Boyle. 2 goals today. Be handed the captain's armband in the absence of Joe Newell. So that's kind of, you're not going to get the sort of stereotypical shouty, noisy captain from Martin Boyle. But what he does do is lead by example, isn't it?
Yeah, and he certainly did today. I think, after his performance in Aberdeen, I think people were thinking, Boyle is back, understandably so. And it really was. It was a vintage Martin Boyle performance. We then didn't really see that against Kilmarnock and St Johnstone, but he certainly turned it on again today here. Really good finish with his left foot, I think, for the first goal, which is not something you often see.
Passed it into the corner.
Not unlike yourself on the football field. But a really well taken, a really well taken goal from him, and a really good penalty as well. He has obviously missed penalties. Too many Hibs players missed penalties this season so far, but a really well taken penalty, and he was still driving at the Rangers defence, keeping on going late on, not really giving them a moment's peace. And as you say, he's not the kind of. He's not going to be shouting and bawling at the other players. He's not going to be grabbing people by the collar and telling them to get a grip or buck up their ideas. But you need your captain to step up in moments like this, and he did exactly that. And he'd been hoping for a hat trick, I think. But I really
that one opened up for him at the end. You just kind of thought that was going to find the far corner.
You did, and just. You need your big players to sort of come out in games like this. It hasn't happened enough for Hibs this season. We're starting to see it happen more. We saw it in the derby with Dwight Gale coming off the bench to get the winner. We saw it at Aberdeen with Boyle's performance. We've probably seen it with Nicky Cadden as well. I suppose a bit more consistently. Another assist for him today, by the way, from his corner from Rocky Bashiri's header late on for the equaliser. So, we keep going back to that players only meeting that Hibs had just before the Aberdeen game. We'll never know exactly what was said, but it must have been one heck of a meeting because, one defeat in 9, and that's away to Celtic, in a performance that was probably better than what Hibs have done at Celtic Park in recent seasons, and they were maybe unlucky not to take something from that game. So, I think the tricky thing is, it's all well and good putting in performances in games like this. It's all well and good beating Aberdeen away, beating Hearts, coming back and drawing the Rangers, but it means nothing if we can't sort of keep it going like next week against Motherwell. That's the kind of game where you need to take all the good bits from today, build on that, and try and ensure it's another 3 points and try and iron out some of the mistakes that are still creeping in there at the back.
Yeah, definitely. Those are the games that get you to where you want to be in the league. We're going to leave it there, folks. For now, we're about to head down to David Gray's press conference, see what he's got to say after the game. But thank you very much for joining us, and do keep an eye on the website for the full press conference, written and video form. It'll be on the website in words, and then it'll be on the YouTube channel as well. So thanks very much for joining us, folks. We'll speak to you again very soon. Cheers.